Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is my 2023 Mark 8 Volkswagen Golf R, and in this video I'm going to be explaining why I traded in my 2022 Mark 8 GTI for this here Golf R. So let's get started. Alright guys, this is going to be our first kind of POV type drive in this car. So for number one, it's the most obvious one, obviously the power, speed, and performance. So when you go from a GTI to a Golf R, obviously you get a much quicker vehicle, you get a all-wheel drive car, and just a car that's overall just more capable and has more performance. And the huge thing for me was the traction, because on the GTI it was plenty fast enough. I had no issue at all with the speed and performance, but the only issue is from a standstill you do not get really good traction. So, and this is not just like if you're racing someone, this is just in general driving. So let's say you know, you're at a stop and you need to pull out in front of traffic this way. If you try to take off, it's going to burn out and it's just going to slow you down, and you're not accelerating as fast as you could be accelerating. So that's number one. Obviously the power, speed, and performance. You know, the Golf R gets a 3.9 0 to 60, so obviously that's a far cry from the GTI 0 to 60. It also has bigger brakes. The transmission, I got the DSG, has shorter gear ratios, so it kind of accelerates quicker. And you know, the all-wheel drive is just so nice because you can take the car anywhere. You know, it's going to be consistent all the time, you know, when you try to do 0 to 60s or whatever. So that's another nice touch. Number two is the looks. So I absolutely love the way the Mark 8 Golf R looks. I really love the way the front end is. It's really aggressive. I love the painted side skirts, because on the GTI you get the plastic ones. So on the Golf R they're actually painted. They look a little bit nicer. You also get the quad tip exhaust with a valve in the exhaust, which is pretty nice, and the really aggressive rear diffuser. You also get the really nice Golf R spoiler, or for the European GTI Club Sport, it has the same spoiler. And I think that spoiler really does tie in the rear end of the car. Another thing I kind of like about it is that it's kind of like a sleeper. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're driving on the road and you run up next to a 5.7 Challenger or something, or even a Scat Pack. Obviously though, that's a big V8 muscle car, so you expect it to be fast, it's loud. This car is not very loud, it's very stealthy, it's not too aggressive, it's very subtle in its styling. And the reason why I like that is because it's kind of like a sleeper vibe, and people don't really understand how quick this car really is. They don't understand that it can do a 3.9 0 to 60, or you know, the 5.7 Challenger guys, you know, that make all that noise. They don't understand that this car will absolutely destroy it, because I've done it on the street before, and it's pretty funny seeing the reaction. I mean, they're usually good sports, but sometimes I'll run up next to a 5.7 Challenger on the street and absolutely destroy it. But it's pretty funny. I'm sure they're probably surprised that this little Volkswagen Golf can, you know, accelerate so quick. Another thing is the affordability. So my GTI was 33,000 MSRP. This car is 48,000 MSRP, so obviously it's a huge difference. But you're going from a base model GTI to a fully loaded Golf R 20th anniversary edition. So, you know, obviously there's a pretty big difference there in, you know, features and power, speed, everything. So it's still affordable in my eyes. You know, it's below $50,000. These days everything is getting above $50,000. So in the world where cars are just so expensive, I was able to get a lot of what I was looking for in this car for a really good price. You know, $48,000. I feel like that's a really good price. But I was looking at cars like the M2, the RS3, and the Dark Horse Mustang. And while those cars are really amazing as well, and I might eventually get one of those vehicles in the future, you know, at this current moment in time, I thought $48,000 was a really good budget to be around, you know, because over $60,000 you start getting, you know, way up there in price, and you know, it's just not the amount of money I want to spend at the current moment. For number four is the additional added features. So I kind of briefly mentioned them, but you know, in comparison to my GTI, since my GTI was a base model, this car has so many features. So, you know, it has the upgraded headlights, which I love because I'm a huge sucker for good headlights, and these headlights are amazing. The high beam is super bright. They're also adaptive, so they can go up and down. They're just really good looking headlights. They're going to perform very well. Another thing is this upgraded screen. So on the base GTI you get an 8-inch screen. This is a 10-inch screen, and I get it, it's not, you know, that much bigger, but it does make a pretty big difference when you're looking at it. This screen definitely looks a lot more, I should just say it looks a lot nicer. It just does. This car sits very nice from the factory. So you have the adaptive dampers, so you can adjust the suspension, which my GTI didn't have, and it just sits much lower from the factory than my GTI did. So this car, I feel like it does not need lowering springs at all. Yes, the wheels are a little bit further in, probably for aerodynamic purposes and rules and regulations and stuff, but I think the car sits amazing from the factory, and I don't want to change the suspension at all. And that kind of leads me to another point, is that this car from the factory, in my opinion, comes fully loaded with everything I'd want. I don't need to upgrade the spoiler, I don't need to upgrade the wheels and tires, I don't need to upgrade the brakes, I don't need to upgrade anything, because in my opinion, I think this car looks amazing from the factory. So leading into number 5, and this is kind of, you know, piggybacking off what I've already said, but this is basically like my GTI, which I absolutely loved everything about. This is basically like my GTI, but better in every way, except for gas mileage. So this car is faster than the GTI, gets better traction than the GTI, it looks better than the GTI, you know, it has the quad tip exhaust with the valve, you know, it still has the nice small dimensions of a Golf, so it's not like I'm upgrading to a bigger car where it's going to be like, you know, bigger, not handle as well. This car handles amazing. Yes, the GTI is about 200 pounds lighter, but I don't know how much that affects the handling, because this car, it could be just because of the adaptive suspension and the upgraded summer tires, but this car handles way better than my GTI did. And in the GTI, if you put throttle in the corner, which is kind of what you're supposed to do when you're exiting the corner, it kind of, you know, there's a possibility that it could understeer as well, or that the inner wheel can spin. So with this car, if you give it gas in the corner, if you give enough gas in the corner, that back end will actually come around to help round off your corner. So this car is definitely a lot better as far as like the handling and everything is concerned. And like I said, from the factory, it comes with the upgraded brakes and, you know, nice wheels and tires, so that it has summer tires already. And when it's 180 degrees outside, like it normally is in Vegas in the summertime, these tires grip the road like crazy. And for my last point, I want to mention resale value. So obviously when you buy a car, you buy it because you want it, not because you want to resell it, unless obviously you're buying a car to flip. With this car, I love the Golf R, so I bought it because I wanted this car. But a nice benefit as of this current moment, now, you know, I don't know what's to say in 2 months, 3 months, or a year from now, but this current moment, it's still holding value pretty good. You know, you can get very close to what MSRP is on this car if I were to resell it. So I do like that part of it, that it's not, you know, if you were to buy, for example, like a $50,000, you know, BMW 330i that's fully loaded, if you were to resell that car in 1 year and 10,000 miles, it'd probably be worth 33 if you're lucky. So it's just a huge like depreciation hit, whereas this car, the depreciation is not that bad because it's still kind of a rare car. And this one being the 20th anniversary, not like, you know, it's gonna make that big of a difference, but this one being the 20th anniversary is a little bit more rare. So, you know, maybe that holds value a little bit better, I'm not sure. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below on my reasoning for upgrading from my GTI to the Golf R. Let me know if you think they're valid reasons and enough to justify the $15,000 price difference. For those of you guys who stayed to the end of the video, which not many do, but if you did, I'm gonna do a little launch control for you guys. And again, it's super hot out here, so it's not gonna be very fast, but I'm gonna do a launch control anyway for the people that stayed around to the end. I love that launch. That's so nice being able to take off fast like that. Oh yeah, and you can do that all the time, which is so nice. You don't have to worry about, you know, there being a little bit of rocks on the road or some dust or, you know, a little slick patch of pavement or whatever. It's just gonna hook and go every single time, and I love that. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.